So welcome back to our TCP forum, and we have a very inspirational talk in this session given by Radu. The name of the talk is Key to Success, and he will just introduce us to how to obtain this key.
This should be perfect. So, we haven't started yet, by the way, so that you know. Because we have some things to do before we start. And then we're going to start and finish at some point as well. So, I just need to make sure before we start, did everybody have lunch? Feeling good? Comfortable on the chairs? Okay? Can everybody hear me? It's a very special voice. I have a bit of an echo, which is fine. It's not my usual voice, it's a stage voice. And I just need to check that everybody can see me and what's behind. Now, there's a key to this to work. And the key to the keys of success is that what happens here is probably a bit more valuable than what you can see on your laptop screens. I know that we have some people filming it, and it is not live, so probably you won't see what's happening on the stage on the laptops, just for you to know. So in order to see how things work, by the way, I forgot to tell you, it's going to be a bit fun this session, so you can relax. So let's see, just checking if everybody can. Are we ready? Okay, we're almost ready to start. Almost ready to start. I have a clicker. Okay, we'll do it like this. I'll give you a moment. Good. So, to start, before we actually start, something about what's happening today. How many of you, again, have a Twitter account? Just wanted to check. It's okay to put your hand up so that I can see things. Good, perfect. If you don't have a Twitter account, then you might want to get one by the end of this session. If you're thinking of funding, because I know that one of the biggest problems that was raised here was the funding and the money availability and so on. How would it be like to have access to a list of donors which has 300 million people on it? Would that make a difference for the organization? If you would have access to a list like that? If yes, then you should get a Twitter account. Okay, you guilty completely. I know. Let them do their thing. It's good. So, I know. It was okay as it was. You need to make it a bit less than it is now. You need to make it lower than it is now. Yeah. No. Less volume. Okay, but now I'm on. Yeah, it's in the a bit more than like that slide. Can you hear me like this? Okay, this is a bit natural, I think, more natural for the voice. That's what we're going for. It's the same color as my lipstick. Natural. So, coming back to Twitter. We're never going to start this presentation. I know that you want to have a lot of fun, and I'm here to give you a bit of fun, but I need to start the presentation first. So bear with me. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for fixing something that was working before. It's the dream of every speaker. You go in, you fix everything, and then they come to check it while you're on stage. This is the revenge, I think, from Anna. Payback for everything that I've done. So, Twitter, by the way. Radu on Twitter. And the hashtag is, for this session, is Keys to Success. You know the hashtag of this event. It's TCP2016. I have here a prize, which is by far the best book on organizational development that I've read this year. It's called Scaling Up Excellence. And it basically has about 500 case studies of how you can identify something that's excellent and then replicate it in your organization. And this very special and dear book to me goes to the person that makes this session the most visible session. So if there is anything that you want to tweet about this session, go for it. And I have some help here from Radu and Ildi, who will be helping me to judge who gets the book. We're going to count how many tweets you have, how many retweets you have, how much interaction. Can you create a conversation in parallel with the session? Just to get used to it, because it's about tapping, as I said, into a database of 300 million people. Can you make some calculations? If each of the 300 million people, well, let's just say that not all of them will contribute that, but if each of them gives 1 cent to your organization, how much money will you make? So this is the book to start with. It's here. If you don't have it, by the way, you should get it. Anyway, if you don't win it now, get it. It's worth the investment. It's not the cheapest book on the market. Something else as well, with Mastering Matters, we're launching a tool, which is called Business Compass, which helps you get alignment and set better goals in your organization, to have a clear vision and align your vision, your mission, your values, and the outcomes in a very, like with a compass, basically. And it's a tool which is an audio-visual tool. And if you go and sign up here on this page, we've made it open and free for all the participants of the forum. If you want to get it, you just need to register for it. Basically, it's about giving your email so that you get access to it. So if you're here and if you want to use a tool like this for your organization, this is the page. Mastering Matters with Dash and Business Compass. This is the thing. Okay? Okay, not a lot of conversation from this side. So let's do it like this. Usually, Radu speaks to quite big crowds, and usually how this works is that it's very useful that whenever he asks a question, you have an answer. Because otherwise, it's just not very fun. Because it's a bit like him being alone and you're not there with him. So just pay attention for the next times when he's... this is the moment of public interaction for the thing. Okay. To start with, from the beginning, I want to say that for me, minds are like parachutes. They work best when they're open. So I'm inviting you to keep an open mind in this presentation because you might learn something new. So let's begin. Don't smile, it's not that kind of a presentation. I see some of the people here going, not that type of a presentation, but it's still close to it. So what we're talking today, we're talking about excellence, and we're talking about success. And yeah, how many of you have already excellent approaches in your organization? How many of you already have the keys to success? Do you know what they are? No, yes, maybe. It's actually, every time I speak to entrepreneurs, and I do this quite often, I discover one thing. And you might get this feeling as well if you go to conferences or places like in which entrepreneurs hang out, is that you always have a story, a nice story about how everything happened. And it's a very nice and interesting story. It's just that most of the times it takes away, or it's missing some things about failing on the way. Basically, you only see the end result, which is the success. And in order to understand how success is done and how it is replicated, you need to go back at the beginning and review the whole process. And what I want to do today with you is, on one hand, to show you how that is done. On the other hand, to give you some of the keys for success that I've discovered about myself. And in the last part of the talk, it's going to be your chance to set up your own keys for success, so that you have them by the end of the session. Now, if you would get all this in the next 24 minutes, would this be of value to you? Let's do this again. So if we do this again, we'll do it Tony Robbins style. How many of you know about Tony Robbins? Okay, good, very good. He's asking always for public participation, and the public participation goes like this. I ask you a question. If you identify yourself as being the person that would get value out of it, like for example, if I ask you, who here would find value in learning what my own keys for success are, what you need to say is to put up your right hand and say, I. Okay? Quite loud. It's very simple. It goes like this. Who here would find value in finding out what the keys for success are? Say, I! Oh, the energy that we have in the room. Let's try this again. Say, I! You can do better than youth workers, huh? Good. It's good. So, starting from the premise that sometimes you have a routine operation. Take the case of a certain Emily Brimley in 2015. She has a small problem with her throat, MSI, and it's a ridiculous routine operation. And she needs to do the operation. The operation is something that doctors would do a lot of. So it's exactly what would be in the book. It's more routine than an appendix operation. And she goes to the hospital, she says goodbye to her kids, to her husband. It's the kind of operation that at the end of it, you go straight home immediately after. It's 2015, it's March 7th. She goes to the hospital, she goes into the ER, and something goes wrong. Something goes wrong, nobody says anything. The nurse and the person, the anesthetist, or however you pronounce it, doesn't want to step up and to tell the doctor that something is wrong or that she has a solution. The doctor doesn't know what to do. They miss time, they panic, and in the end she passes away. The husband is being met by the doctor, and the doctor tells the husband, I'm very sorry, it's just one of those things. Scroll back to 1978, United Flight 173. Leaving from Hudson, the flight crashes because of a problem related to how the temperature is measured in the plane. Now, what's the difference? And a lot of people die. What's the similarity between the two stories? A lot of people die. Some people die. A lot of people die also during surgery. So that's the similarity. What's the difference? The difference is not necessarily in the result, in the process itself. The difference comes from what happens after. And this is what I want to talk to you about, understanding success through failure and learning from failure. Because we're comparing two systems that are there to ensure our own safety as people and health. The health system and the airline system. If something happens in the medical field, usually it's one of those things. Actually in the US, because in Europe we don't really have research about it, in the US, 1 out of 3 people in the hospital, if they're there for more than 3 days, they would develop an infection that has no relation to the reason why they came in. On the other hand, the airline industry, in which when something goes wrong, they have a black box. They unroll the process to understand what went wrong. And when they find the result, it is immediately applied throughout the organization. So basically, if they find a problem with a plane, they would make all the airlines update their planes so that never happens again. And they would update the procedures and everything that... Does that happen in the medical system? So let's talk about that today. This is the premise of it, of learning every time I run this session and I talk about success, and people think that I'm going to give them a lot about success, and a very romantic and nice story about how I came about and how my 10 years of entrepreneurship have gone. And they're usually surprised to find out that it's not like that. Because you might have a feeling that if you come to these kind of events, that everybody has a perfect life, because you hear about best practices, about amazing projects, about amazing results, but not so much about what are the real struggles that you have every day in your organization. And I'm curious, how can we learn if we don't share our failures? So, why are you here? Every time I'm in front of the group, and they're looking at me, looking at you, I'm curious, why are you here? Some of you, and I've heard, some of you are here because you want to grow, to have a bigger impact. Some of you want to stay where you are. Some of you want to start new roles, which is fine. Whichever your reason is for being here, it's okay. What you need to understand is, actually the key with success, or the first key with success, is that anybody can be successful, can become successful. That's not the problem. The difficult thing is staying successful. Or even more, replicating your success. Understanding what exactly you did that worked. So I'm offering you a couple of tools today, in terms of the goals, to find out how that is done. Very simple, very direct with that. With a question in mind, of course, because in everything that I do as a coach, I ask people to have an outcome for everything. I would like you to set an outcome for yourself for this session, and to decide right now what needs to happen with you by the end of this session, so that when it happens by the end of this session in the next 20 minutes, you'd be able to say that this was the best workshop that you've ever attended. What would your outcome need to be right now? What do you need to get to be able to say that this was the best workshop that you've ever attended? Okay? You want to share it already. I don't have microphones, but you can shout. Yes. Okay. Very good. Perfect. So, again, I remind you for this session, I'm going to ask you to use first-person singular. I know that you all have first-person singular, so this session is about the most important person in your life, yourself. What is success? Let's start from the beginning. What's success for you? Think about it right now. Because if you want keys for success, one of the reasons why people never achieve success is because they haven't decided what success means for them. Is it money? For some people it is. And by the way, it's going to come in the rules for success later on. If you have any kind of negative emotions related to money and making money, let them go. You can't have an impact if you don't have resources. What you do with them, that's a different story. For other people, this will be success. Sorry that I don't have Ryan here anymore, so that you can recognize and say, I know that place. For other people, this will be success. So what's success for you? What does success mean to you? So I have to say, I usually do business courses, and all the businessmen are much more active than you are at the moment. So to find a bit of let's work together a bit. Okay, good. When you develop, or when you realize all the sectors, all the areas of your life, perfect. We have some.
Yes. For me, this sustainable solution can I apply and implement not accidentally, but all the time, wherever, whenever, and with whoever I am.
Okay. Thank you. Eddie?
For me, success is feeling happy and creative whatever I'm doing. The job, relations.
Anything else? Sorry? thing is, this is the big discussion which we're not going to tackle in this one, which is, of course, is success different for everyone? Yes. Are we able to accept that it's different from other people? Yes. If you're able to accept that success means something else for everybody else, say aye. Aye. Then, so the difference that makes the difference, this is what we're talking about today. What actually makes the difference in between succeeding and failing? Because, as we said here, I think the key word that many of you mentioned is accidental. I like to think of success. When I think of success, I like to think of success as being something that I can achieve consistently. If it's a one-time off, not necessarily success, especially if you don't know how you got there. You'll hear that a lot because you have a lot of people who became successful by making a lot of money very quickly and who lost it very quickly after that. Because it's not about becoming successful. It's about staying successful. And finding out, out of all the crazy things that we do, what are the small things that we do? What's actually the drop that changes everything? Now, there is a saying that on every trampoline, on every platform for the diving, you know what a diving platform is, right? You have a bit of visual aid behind you. If you don't know, it's just behind. So on every platform, there is a sweet spot. And if you jump, if you launch from the sweet spot, you can win a gold Olympic medal. You make a perfect jump. So when anyone jumps from the sweet spot, they will win completely. It's the best thing that they can do. The thing is, nobody knows where the sweet spot is. And anybody can, from the sweet spot, make an Olympic gold medal jump. But it takes a professionist to jump from wherever else on the platform and still make it a brilliant jump. And find it on the way. So today, not as colorful as Raluca's presentation from the first day, I have a chemistry lab as well. What I'm going to do with you is to distill everything that I've done and achieved in the past 10 years, launching businesses, organizations, and working with institutions, and so on, into 4 minutes of wisdom. The things that made the difference for me. And then teach you how to do it yourselves. Would that be okay if we do that until the end? Yeah? Okay. Who's interested in finding out what the wisdom thing comes out? How much wisdom can you get out of 10 years of failing? So like this, say aye. Okay. We leave Tony Robbins there. So I know that many of you will want to clap. We'll do this. I know that you're busy tweeting. And to clap, to save time, I'm just going to ask you to do one clap. So whenever it's something it's okay or it's right or whatever, you just need to clap once. It's very simple. There's a trick to it though. You need to do it all together. Okay? So let's see. Before the 4 minutes of wisdom, can I get the clap? Let's try this again. Very good. Okay, we're getting there. Good. There's a bit of more energy. So let's start from the very beginning. How it all started. About 10 years ago, my father just passed away, and I decided that it's time to leave my safe job at the state institution as a spokesperson, where I would wear a suit and be nice and not really bother too much, and change the world by running a training and coaching business. I had this idea for a very long time, that my purpose on this planet is to enable individuals and organizations to make their best become their average. Find out what makes them excellent and do more of that. And that's it. I knew that I'm going to do that. So this is what I learned in the 10 years of failing. We've had 5 companies, this is the 5th one, many initiatives on the way. Yeah, things that you don't hear in presentations like this. The first one is, the first thing was learn more. The biggest enemy and a recipe for disaster and success is thinking that you already know that thing, that you've already heard it, and you know how it works. It's number one. That was the first lesson. Assuming that I already know this, I don't need to do it, I don't need to listen, I don't need to do. It's a recipe for disaster. So, my rule for success, my first rule for success was learn more. Start to listen, to pay attention, and learn together with everyone. The second one is perception is projection. You get what you give. Welcome to Karma Cafe. There are no menus. You will get what you deserve. Whatever you have inside will be projected outside. So be truthful to yourself. Dennis. I think this is, it was useful because it gave me, it made me understand why at the beginning we were not making money. And I'm going to talk about money next. We're not making money because I used to hate rich people. And I thought that money is something that's bad. Instead of realizing that money is just energy, and it allows things to move around. By hating something, you'll never be able to achieve it yourself. So we always had the problem of we needed money for the organizations, for the NGOs, for the social responsibility projects to have an impact in society. We never got them. Interestingly enough, we hated rich people and we never got any donations from them. Never. We had a lot of meetings, we never got any donations. Very interesting. You get what you give. It's as easy as that. The rule that, for many of you, if you don't know it yet, in these words, I'm going to put it in very business words. Cash flow is king. The amount of money that you have in the organization matters. And it's not the amount of money that you have on paper. It's about how much money do you have. Do you have your own contribution set aside? Is it there? Can you do something with it? Do you have, like, in case you need to have a contribution, can you actually support the organization with it? Because otherwise, I'm sorry to tell you, you're not successful. It's about what you do with the money that matters, and you still need them. Something that I've taken very religiously in everything that we do, fail often. Fail often, fail at the beginning, learn as quickly as I can from everything, and make better mistakes tomorrow. We got to the point now with Mastery Matters, which is a consultancy and training company, that we can come to the market with a new fully developed product or a service in less than a week. It's a big thing. Already tested product in less than a week. So something that we know that it works. The process is very simple. At the beginning, trash as much as you can. Brainstorm, put everything in, and then clarify it as you go along. It's better to make mistakes at the beginning of the process than at the end. If you want to be successful, you need to provide value. I heard it, he's not here, he just left. Providing value not only to the community. To be successful, you need to provide value to the people in your organizations, the people around you. And you need to provide value to yourself. I'm sorry to tell you, if nobody else told you before this, I'm going to be the first one to say, you are absolutely useless to your organization if you're sick because you had a burnout. By the way, in everything that we do, because I've heard quite some interesting ideas of social entrepreneurs and also people developing projects here. The ideas are usually, I would say, 5% of what matters. It's the execution that makes a difference. Everybody has ideas all the time. It's about making them happen that makes a difference. in the end, action is key. It doesn't matter that you enjoyed yourselves here. It doesn't matter that you had nice food, that you had amazing coffee breaks, thank you very much. That you had nice food and so on. What matters is what happens after. Because we do have a tendency to work in the general aspect of strategies. We like to make plans. That's not where the magic happens. And I can tell you about magic, because growing up, I had dreams of becoming a lawyer or a doctor. But my parents insisted I become a wizard. And I did. Keep it short and simple. We have a tendency to overcomplicate things. Remember to keep it short and simple. The simple things work. It doesn't need to be complicated to make it work. And the last one is, it's okay to ask for help. If you've ever failed with anything or you had any trouble developing anything, everybody had. Everybody did. It's okay to ask for help. It's not about pretending that it's perfect. Because very often, if not always, it's far from perfect. And it's not about what your beneficiaries, your communities see, it's also what's happening inside the organizations. So, four nuggets, 4 minutes of wisdom on that. And I want to introduce to you how you can do your own set of rules for success. If you're interested in this. Otherwise, I can play some music for the last part. But it only took us half an hour to warm up, which is good. So, the first rule is you need 2 pieces of paper, or a piece of paper with 2 sides that are free, a place where you can write. On the first one, think about, let's say, this year, because it's December, and it's a great time to look into this. Think about what are all the things that you've achieved this year, and write them down, as many things as you can, as quickly as you can. What are all the things that you've achieved this year? By the way, I have to tell you something about, I don't know if you know this from the training courses, usually exercises work when you do them. Otherwise, yeah, so all the things that you've achieved this year. This year, everything that you've achieved this year.
Can I use a picture?
Yes. I hope so. I hope that you can use a flip chart. All the things that you've achieved this year. There's music for everything on this one. I need to quickly play with them until they come back. So, all the things that you've achieved this year. What else? What's missing from your list? Okay? What's the feeling when you look at the list? What does it tell you? I am amazing. Thank you very much, Annie. My job here is done. She's looking at her list and she says, "You're amazing." This is exactly what I want to hear from our students. Yes. What's the feeling? You can say it out loud. It's okay to be proud of what you've achieved this year. Okay, good. Very quickly, turn the page or draw a line or something, because other things might come to mind. Maybe you haven't yet realized how much you've achieved this year. Now, I want you to make a list of all the things that you haven't achieved yet. What are all the things that you haven't achieved yet? Everything. All the things that you haven't achieved yet. I can't do it, I'll break my shirt, sorry. Okay? What's the feeling when you look at the list? Okay. Yeah? Okay. You like the first one, the first feeling. Did you get when you get on the Okay. Good. The idea is you might realize that there are things that we haven't yet done, which is good, because that's the point. And now, the next step of this one, which is actually the distillery element of it, is to compare and contrast the two lists. And ask yourselves, what did you do different in the first case that you didn't do in the second one? What's the difference that makes the difference in between your successes and your soon-to-be successes? Usually, for many people, by the way, it's just one thing. For other people, it's two. For other people, it's three. Keep it short and simple. By the way, it should be a positive, an affirmative statement. So it's not something that you don't do. It's what did you do instead. Sorry? Okay. You need to be more specific than that. How organize it in a different way? That's true. Let's hear other rules for success.
I mean, I have done something before because I thought that it was better to do. So I have tried other things and I'm intention to do it. Because of course, if you're ready to do something, after you set other things.
Yeah. Any other rules for success? Starting it, yes. By the way, for me, one of the rules is stopping things. Stopping the spinning place. I start everything. It's the stopping that's the challenge part. What else? Give me more. Sequence, yes.
Because this who achieved and just the later to come.
Yeah. Okay, consistency, yeah, that's it. And by the way, success is not about motivation, as you think. It's about discipline. It's about doing things even if you don't like them.
Be focused and active.
You missed it. Unfortunately, we don't have any cameras on the public because we just went. The light bulb was big. Any others? Come on, I need 3 more.
Being lucky.
Sorry?
Being lucky.
Yeah.
Be always
You can believe that it's luck that does it, but how would it be if you would be the master of your luck?
Well, luck is not up to you.
It's true.
So,
It's about creating
but
situations.
sometimes when you apply, for example, to some project, actually you lose for half a point.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily related to luck. So,
Lucky, unlucky.
because I do believe that they have indicators in the national agencies when they're actually checking. It's not a matter of luck of getting the funding with it. Just saying. But yeah, 2 more rules. Come on, to finish this. Close. Eddie.
Saying yes to everything, be open.
Okay.
Visualizing the last stage of what I want.
Perfect. Knowing where you're going usually helps. Do I have another one?
I said, I don't know, I said, negative, but it's kind of time, isn't it? You've got to
Sometimes even magic takes a bit of time.
Yeah.
It's what the witch tells is it Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz. The wizard says sometimes even magic takes a bit of time. So yes.
Maybe you say, from my point of view, better you say no. Too many things over can be waste of energy.
Do you ever feel like you're at the circus spinning plates? Do you know the plate spinners? The ones that put the plate and then you need to go there and you need to turn another one? Do you ever feel like that?
Yeah.
Good. You know what to do. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. And there's always more. Much more. And I know that I'm here. By the way, I still have this that says, remind people about Business Compass. So if you want to take your organizations, if you wanted to test a tool for free, sign up for the tool. It's available today. I don't know if we're going to keep the form after that. So if you want to do it, if you don't do it now anyway, you won't do it, so it's fine. What did I want to say? And to say, the only key in the end that matters out of everything here is taking action. It's about what you're going to do different. And maybe it's not going to be tomorrow morning, because maybe you're leaving tomorrow. But I'm curious, what will be the thing that you'll do first thing Monday morning? So that, sorry? Trust me, it might be one of the best decisions that you ever take. What do you need to do on Monday morning so that your future self will thank you because you've done it on Monday? What do you need to do? What is the one thing that you need to do Monday morning for which your future self will be thankful for? Yeah? If you have any questions, I'm open for questions. Find me around. We can talk more about things. I want to end on a happy note. After the surgery of Emily, her husband was a pilot, took on the case, sued the hospital, the medical system in the US, and obtained a change throughout the medical procedure that doctors now use. It's now okay, and it's in the training of doctors to act differently in that case. In the case of United Flight 173, many people died. Since then, hundreds of millions survived because of that plane that crashed there. If it wouldn't have crashed there, the consequences might have been much worse. So, looking at your achievements and your failures, I'm just curious, how will you change the world? What's the learning that you need to have that will enable you to change the world? Yes.
I think it starts from ourselves, from inside.
Okay.
Starting from inside, the future and going outside.
And it will be different for each and every one of you. If you do anything with yourselves in order to actually grow in this training course, give yourselves 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and make a decision today. Keep it short and simple, commit to something, and do it. That's it. That's the key.
What do we need to do, or what do we want to do? What's the difference?
It is.
Need of what?
If you can imagine, how can I say, if I say it's something that you want. It's basically making it a need. So the answer is in the question. It's about any other questions? If not, I'm curious to find out. You can do that, and I think you have the space for doing it and sharing it a bit. Because I'm curious how you're gonna change the world. Always. Or sometimes staying the same. Thank you.